You know, I know somebody that lost a grapefruit in their ass. True story.
Dang, I really want to know how they got the grapefruit in there.
I mean, they put it in there. Yeah, they put it in there.
Hi, my name is Nicoletta Heidegger, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist and sexologist and host of the hit podcast Sluts and Scholars.
Hi, my name is Kylie LeBeau. I'm an adult actress and cam model, and I've been in the industry since 2018.
My name is Kisses. I'm an award-winning adult actress, cam model, and producer, and I've been in the adult industry since 2016.
We are super excited today to talk to you all about anal and preparing for anal pleasures, which can be awesome, especially if you have patience. Let's start it off right off the bat with just a few facts, and then I want to turn it over to some of my favorite anal experts like Casey. So one really important thing to keep in mind as we talk about this, just a little science fact because I'm a therapist. The anus has two sphincters. So if you don't know what the sphincter muscle is, it's basically the thing that like holds in your bathroom. So there is one muscle that is sort of lower down, more like an external almost. It's not on the outside, but it's just lower down sphincter. And that's one that you can sort of control and can consciously move. So you can notice if you like squeeze your butt in and like squeeze your ass, that is one sphincter. There is another sphincter muscle that is further up in that is unconsciously controlled, meaning that your body decides when it is ready and open to receiving. And so you cannot force things past this second sphincter. If you are not ready, it will potentially hurt, and sex should never hurt unless you want it to. And so one of the main keys that I want to kick it off with is that being patient and taking your time, the more that you can allow your body to actually get ready and feel open and feel in a space of pleasure, that second sphincter is going to relax, and it is going to be your sort of barometer, your temperature for like when it is ready to receive, and it will tell you. So super important that we're dealing with like a physiological thing here, and you want to give yourself the best chance at pleasure. Casey, what are some tips that you have for prepping for anal?
I got a handful.
Yes, a fistful.
Yeah, a fistful, basically. So to start things off with, and I just got to put this out there because I've heard it. I've never done it. I personally don't know anybody that's ever done this, but the water inside of the enema bottle goes in your ass and not in your mouth. Do not drink that water. It is it's saline water, so it's basically like salt water or something. To be honest, I even empty that water out because what the water inside of the enema is gonna make you want to use the bathroom. It's like a laxative. So empty that out, rinse it out, rinse out the nozzle. If you're putting salt up there, things are gonna want to come out. That is a major tip, major huge thing to want to consider. Also, there's
what kind of water do you prefer to use? Like just a distilled, room temperature distilled water?
Oh, I'm using tap water. I'm using I switch between warm and cool sometimes, just depending. Depending on the mood, I guess, on how cold my body temperature is, because it does lower. I feel like it does lower your body temperature every time I'm done cleaning out. I feel like a lot cooler, so if it's like hotter out, I might want to use colder water. I have a fancy butthole. I'm like, get me the nice distilled room temperature. I'm camming all the time. I can't do that. Another thing that is like that I think to me is a huge stigma is that you shouldn't eat the day before. I feel like. You have something to say?
Oh yeah, I think that's a huge stigma too, because I eat the day before. I feel like I need to, and leading up until the morning as well, I still eat. Yeah, but you can continue because my process is similar to hers.
And working in the adult industry, I was like, and doing so many scenes, especially as a trans woman, like I was not eating all the time. And it's not healthy to not eat, obviously. So I've figured out a formula in a way that I can do it. High fiber diets are definitely a plus, but they do have things that are like capsules that are high fiber. They're like little pills, supplements that you can take. Always check to see with your doctor and see if it goes with any current prescriptions. But those are things that can make the process easier. So as opposed to like not eating, you can do these things. You could take one of those.
And Imodium as an insurance policy.
I was gonna say an Imodium is always an insurance policy for anal. So right before.
I mean, I do want to say that like we can all prep as best as possible, and I think if you're deciding to delve into the anus, there's shit there.
Yeah,
shit is going to happen at some point. That might be because you don't want to clean out, or sometimes it can happen anyway. So like this is just a normal bodily function. Get yourself a nice towel to put down, nice black towel, some black gloves, turn the lights down, like just accept that it might happen, which might help you relax a little more, because if you're so worried it's gonna happen, you might not enjoy yourself. So like lots of things you can do to prep and give yourself a better chance at shit not happening, but like when it comes to anal, shit happens.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would say if you're on the receiving end, like throw that out of your mind, because you're not gonna have fun if that's all you're constantly thinking about. And if you're on the giving end, like understand that if you're going, I heard this saying before. If you're gonna knock on shit's door, if you're gonna go to shit's house, don't be surprised when shit's home. So, like, you just can't go there and just say, hey, this is a surprise, or, blame it on this person.
Why are you in your house?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So I've always kind of thought of that and been like, oh yeah, this is true. And it's always kind of been like, I'm a very kind of like germophobic person, but like in doing anal, it's kind of something that you accept. You're like, oh, hey, this is something that could happen. So don't be as surprised or offensive when it does happen, because it's going to happen.
We're human.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. But these are great tips to help avoid. To help you get to poop's home without poop being home. Excuse me.
All right, so you can clean out using different water. You've got some fiber. You can shift your diet a little bit, having a higher fiber diet, checking with your doctor, getting some fiber tablets. What's next?
Well, like we said, Imodium, the prior to cleaning out is always an added insurance policy, and I don't always like take a full Imodium. I sometimes like just half it, because I don't want to like throw off my my regular cycle. I don't want to like kind of stuff things up. But past that and going into the cleaning process, I always set myself up with some nice running water. I have an entertainment source, whether it's something to read or videos to look at. But it's all about body position. I think is a huge thing to help you get cleaner faster and to help ensure that you are clean. So if you look on the side on the box of the enemas, they have like little figures, I guess, and demonstrations on how to do it. And there's like kind of like a downward dog pose that is, for me, has been the most effective. I normally do that until I feel like I have to relieve myself, and then that's when I do that. And just kind of rinse and repeat until the water is running clear. I also kind of give it like a good 10 or 15 minutes before I do go into anal, just to see if things are stirring up or if my stomach hurts. I always try to pay attention to my body, and that's one of the most important things that I want to stress when we're talking about anal, is to pay attention to your body. Whether you're putting things like water or penises in your ass, nothing should be hurting you. So always listen to your body and take things a step at a time.
Yeah, and just for a little quick tip as well on kind of the medical side of things, that if you are obviously experiencing like pain or struggling with that, again, sex should not hurt unless you want it to. And obviously, if there are a lot of people who will, I don't know how you two feel about these things, but a lot of people sort of encourage numbing agents or things that numb. And I really like to encourage people against this stuff. So that could be like numbing cream. That could also be like poppers, which can be a fun thing to do, you know, but I think sometimes if you are numbing before you're listening to your body, you might end up hurting yourself because you're not actually listening to the limits of your body. But if things are hurting, it could also be that there's tears or other things happening. And so go to a proctologist that specializes in this. I want to shout out my colleague, Dr. Evan Goldstein. He's a really awesome doctor that does a lot of work for folks around your butt health. And he also talks about different people have different beliefs about how often you should clean out or anally douche. Some people feel that if you do it too often, it can mess up the kind of natural microbiome of your anus. So definitely, you know, check with a doctor and figure out what feels right for you and your body. Yeah, and that can really help get you started.
I would really like to be interested if you guys figure anything out about like any facts about about cleaning out every, you know, daily or over cleaning out. I would like to definitely know them, so drop it in the comments, because I personally clean out almost daily, and I've never had an issue with it, but I've always wondered about like the long-term effects of cleaning out.
I think every body is different, and I'm not y'all's doctor. We're not y'all's doctor, so talk to a doctor. But I think people have different beliefs. Like, I check out some of the work of Dr. Evan Goldstein and hear his opinion. But I think every body is different. So I love what you were saying, Casey, about just like being in touch with your own body. All right, so you're in downward dog. Now the water's flowing clear. What's next?
Yeah, that's when I would say I'd give it about 10 or 15 minutes to just kind of see if things, if your stomach starts rumbling, or, you know, if things aren't feeling right, you can always go in for another quick rinse. And you by my experience, you technically should be good to go. I've been in the industry for 6 years. I do almost 2 cam shows daily. So... And I've never really had a problem, maybe but once or twice. So I mean, it can be, if you're trying to have anal sex without the mess, it's definitely something that is achievable.
My process is slightly different after that. So I like to actually get lube shooters and shoot them in my ass, so that I can lubricate the inside of my ass, because yeah, it just helps with receiving a cock. So I do lube shooters, and then I have this anal kit. It's an anal size kit, so it starts at like I want to say half an inch in diameter, and then it increases to about 2 inches in diameter. And I would highly recommend, at least this is what I do before any anal scene, I will play around with my ass for a bit, but you don't want to overdo playing with your ass, because you want to relax the sphincters, but then also not overdo it for your partner, for a cock to go in there, or a dildo, or what have you. But I would highly recommend buying lube shooters if you are someone that is sensitive, I would say.
And also, everybody's body is different. For me, I call it anal recoil. I feel like I have a natural anal recoil, and what I mean by that is, like, I could take a huge dick, a huge one, like fucking huge, really big.
How big?
And, the next day, it's like it's a virgin hole again, and it is absolutely painful to fit anything over a finger or two in there. So
play with it. Play with your hole.
Yeah, there's the responsive arousal as well. So I think that is something that that happens often with me, and in anal sex. I just can't force something in there. And for the most part, I will take a quick tease in and pull out before my body actually relaxes itself, and I'm open enough to have like rough anal sex. So I'll do like, put it in, ow, 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 hold on, give me a second. I could kind of feel everything relaxing, and I'm like, take a breath. All right, go for it. And then it's like, yeah.
See, I couldn't do that.
Have a field day.
I need a little practice beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also one more thing that I want to add is that there's different types of lube and there's different types of dildos. So if you are using a low quality dildo and the silicone on it is going to be low quality, what happens when silicone touches is that they start melting and they can fuse. If you sit two dildos that are low quality together, they can actually fuse together. Now, if you can imagine if you're using a silicone lube on a low quality silicone dildo, it's gonna be melting in your ass and it's gonna fucking burn.
Well, yeah, silicone on silicone naturally just melts, so don't do that.
Yeah. Well, no,
they break each other down.
Well, there's high quality silicone as well that doesn't do it. So you have like brands like and they don't advertise that their dildos are meant for silicone, but they are dildos that are meant for silicone, and they are made in silicone molds as well. So these, if you know what you're doing, you could use silicone on a silicone dildo. But I generally stay away from that. Always use a water-based lube with a silicone dildo, and that's my standard. And for glass, I obviously go. I love silicone lube. If I'm gonna use if I'm going like skin to skin, or if I'm going with glass or metal, I will always go with silicone lube. But I've also known people that have used things like coconut oil. And again, you got to listen to your body, because coconut oil has burned me in the past. So it's not something that my body was accepting of, but in other people, it feels amazing and they'd rather use that than silicone.
And in the realm of toys, remember that without a base, without a trace. And what this means is if you are putting things in your butt that are not connected to a body, they need to have a flared base, meaning something that is like larger than the size of whatever it is you're putting in there. Because of those like sphincter muscles, they can suck things in. And so if there is not a proper base, things can get lost in there. And so there are a lot of people who can end up, unfortunately in the emergency room needing help to get things out. So make sure that you have something with a base if it's not attached to a human body, so that it stays only in when you want it to be in. And yeah, definitely checking on those ingredients, because you're putting stuff into a tender part of your area that has a lot of what's called mucous membrane. And so little tears and things can happen. So you want to put things in there, lube, toys, or otherwise, that have the highest of quality ingredients, ideally, because you're putting it into your body.
I know somebody that lost a grapefruit in their ass. True story.
Dang, I really want to know how they got the grapefruit in there.
I mean, they put it in there. They put it in there.
That is a good amount of relaxation.
It was either a grapefruit or an orange, and they put in two and one came out. So yeah, make sure it has a base.
How did how long did it take to get out?
An hour or two.
That's not that bad.
Oh boy.
I mean, that's bad. I'm sure every minute felt like an hour.
You just have to relax.
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay, so in the spirit of relaxing as well, like we are talking to some folks who are more pro at this and who have done this more and practiced this more. And so even if you are practiced and seasoned, like start with hands. Don't go right to, I would say, and I can say this, I think, pretty confidently, like, sure, sometimes people's butts are a little more roomy and open and ready for bigger things to be put in. And hands is a good place to start. And you don't even have to start with going inside. I would say if this is your first time and you're just exploring, don't even go in. Like, play around the area, play around the butthole itself, play around, like, the taint area in between the other genitals, massage the legs, like, really get to, a really place where you feel like you can receive a lot of pleasure and are taking like slow, deep breaths. Breath work is really important here. And so figure out and look up some different kinds of breathing techniques and see how they affect your body. And practice it with yourself too. Like, what does it take for my body to become relaxed? What does it take for that second sphincter muscle to relax unconsciously? And really know yourself. And it might be different at different times. So kind of like Casey was saying, just because one day big old cock works, the next day it might be different. So treat each time like its own unique time, and give yourself the opportunity to have enough time to allow your physical body to want to receive as opposed to forcing it in there.
I also kind of want to add to that I feel like consent also kind of groups with that as well. Because I always say this when I'm on set and we're going over checklists, and I'm coming from a directing standpoint. Because some yes or somebody's no, somebody might have a yes or no one day, and I'm getting it off the big cock thing. But just because somebody may have a yes or no one day doesn't mean that the next day or a month down the line that they're gonna have a yes or no on the same thing. So always checking in with your body and with your partner is super important. And even if you've known somebody for a long time and have had that same type of sex, it might not always feel the same for them. So it's always good to check in with them and yourself.
Yeah, and that second sphincter is like the additional consent person, right? You may have a desire to want to do anal, but your second sphincter is like, not today, bitch. And so you may have to respect that no. Some days are not anal days, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
No.
Any last tips or tricks for having a successful butt play experience?
Ooh, I would say if you are a male or trans woman, your G-spot is in your ass. So 100% explore that. And yeah, your finger, perfectly fine. Start off a little slow and work your way a little, work more fingers in there as you get more comfortable.
Yes, thank you for naming the anatomy. So yeah, if you are a person who has a penis, you have a prostate in there, mm-hmm. that is a really great pleasure zone for you. If you are somebody with a vagina, you do not have a prostate, but there are a lot of nerve endings in there. And in fact, depending on how your body's shaped, there's ways to get at the internal part of your clitoris from behind. And so a lot of people can experience, a lot of anal pleasure, but often it's because it's hitting the body of your clitoris from the inside, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great. I can say pile driver is a great one in anal. It also will...
For folks who don't know, what is pile driver?
Oh,
and I know you all have a sex...
Right.
You guys have a sex position video, so everyone should go watch the Camming Life sex position video with Casey and Kylie.
Yes, go watch that. So pile driver is basically when you are... you're kind of on your back, but your legs are flipped over... Am I explaining this right? You're on your back.
You would be on your back, kind of like on your neck, with your ass up in the air and with your knees down by your shoulders.
Yeah. So
and then the cock penetrating you from above.
So I find, people who have vaginas, at least for me, I get an intense orgasm in my ass from pile driver. Like you're hitting the clit. It just feels amazing. So highly recommend.
Yeah, but look, as we've said a million times, every body is different.
That's true.
So see what angle works well for you. Thank you for sharing your anal tips, and I hope that this gave you all some good first steps to explore butt play and how you can do it in a more risk-aware, safer way. An invitation to take some time and give your butt some love. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for having us.
Always.